Okay, this is your VPF 200 dual nozzle vertical pouch filling and capping machine. And we're making this video so we can show you the a lot of the features of the machine and how to operate it. It does a lot, so we thought this video would really make sense to help you get started up soon. Right now we have the power connected and the air connected, and we'll show you later on how that's done. It's pretty simple. This unit is set up for 220 single phase, and we're running the air somewhere between like 6 and 8 bar. So I'll power it up. This is the power on main. How the unit's starting up. This green indicates that you have enough air pressure. There's an air switch in here that it'll shut it down if it runs low on air. So that green's telling me that there is enough air, which this gauge is as well. And as I said, we'll show you the air connection. These lights just mean that you have power to the unit. This is a start button. We'll show you. We'll get into that when we get into the menu. E-stop, very important. And this is your level control. While I'm here, this level control, I don't have the panel locked so I can show you this. This is a relay and a contactor that the level control actuates. That's up in the hopper. And there's an access hole in the hopper to connect a filling tube. All right, now I guess we'll get into the menu. We'll go for English. This is basically your main page of the operator's interface here. So I guess I'll show you the functions of it. Right now I do have water in the machine, so for the moment we'll skip the filling functions. But this step in means that's your index wheel. It indicates in steps. I think I can show you that. We'll push that on, and then we'll push start. Nothing else is on, so we should be able to indicate. You'll see the disc going around it. It'll indicate, it'll index 2 stations per cycle. You see it? Okay, we'll show you basically what these controls do and what they mean. I think maybe the best way will be we're going to go, this is the main menu. We'll go into the manual menu. Now there are some little quirks to this program, so I'll show you. In the manual menu, we'll begin like, I'll put this bagger function here with working. Now sometimes that doesn't work. Let me show you, I'm going to go back because this is important. If let's say that if you try to go to the manual page of the menu and it's not working, the thing to do is index it one time. Well, again, we're on the main page here. We'll let her index. We'll start it. Then we'll stop it. Okay. Now we'll go to the manual. The program needs to know that the disc is in the right spot. So sometimes you'll go to manual and it'll be right there. Other times you have to go through a few steps to get it. Now let's see where we're at. Okay, we indexed it once. Okay, now all the other functions should work just fine. So I'll show you what they are. First one, I'll show you the first two. Into the bag 1, into the bag 2. That is the bag feeding unit. And there's 2 sections to it. This is what they call the first section. This is what they call the second section. And I'll activate them for you. So you can see this. Now in manual, that'll hold that. I'll push it again. It'll come back. Now the operator will be back here loading the bags, and then this cycles once every time the index disc goes. So this will go back and forth. Now the second part, into the bag 2, hit that. Right now you'll see that's moving very slowly. It's because it's on a very relatively low pressure, because that pushes the bags against the disc. and then I'll get into the specifics of that pressure setting in a bit. I just wanted to show you what it is. Okay. So next we have the fill valve. I'll hit that. You can just hear it, and I'll turn it off. Now what that is these. Maybe we can come inside with the camera. Those are the valves here that there's one after the cylinder, and there's one in the back before the cylinder. They're the check valves that allow the filler to function. Now the filling pump, there's pump 1 and pump 2. Those I won't actuate now because, well, I guess I could. We have water in the hopper, so I think we're going to do a water test, and then I'll show you all that. So, okay, filling seal. We made a change in the program. We tied in what that was the filling nozzles, but we tied it into the pumps. So now they're directly. If it pumps, the nozzle's open, and if it doesn't pump, the nozzle doesn't open. So, again, we'll show you that after we show you our fill test. Fill press. For the remaining thing, maybe the camera can come over here. Fill press is the filling head. That'll come down and cover the bag. I'll show you that up and down. Now, when you run, it's important that all these functions are on. And we'll show you that again when we get into we'll go back to the main menu. These are, okay, next menu is blow and blow press. That's the same, that'll blow air onto the nozzle of the bag, of the pouch. The blow press is up and down. I'm actuating it back and forth. And then the blow will just blow air. Now I don't know if you're going to be using that or not. Just to let you know, that is shop air, so you may want to blow purified air if you're using it. But right now it's connected to shop air. Now we're going to come over to the capper, and it's cap screw. That starts the motors that crank the caps on. I'll turn that on. And cap press. That's maybe that moves the capper up and down. You see that? Now again, we're in the manual mode here, so this is just if you're testing a function or whatever. Because if you activate one of these controls, it'll stay on until you turn it off. So I'll show you. Cap presses down until you tell it to come up. Okay. Now parameter setting, you can access that from the main menu or from this menu, and that just tells you the timing of pretty much every function. Here is Richard cover detection off. That's the cap detection. Right now it's off, and this is the bag detection. Right now that's on. Bag detection, you pretty much want that on all the time. Under each fill head, there's a photo eye, and so if you're indexing, if you're missing a bag, it won't fill. So that's a wonderful thing. You won't make a mess. So that's pretty much on all the time. The cap detection, yeah, you should have it on, because if you run out of caps, it'll shut the machine off, because you don't want them running through, obviously. So I will turn that on. And what that is, maybe we can look through here. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you see the red, about 3/4 of the way up the cap chute. There's a photo eye on the far side of that. That's looking through to see that there's a cap there. Basically, it's telling the machine that, yes, you have a backlog of caps, and we're good. Okay, now we'll go back to the main menu. Now, probably what you want to do is turn the cap sorter on first. You know what? I'm going to turn this off and hit start. I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, like I said, there's some quirkiness in this program, but when you're starting up, the caps take a while to wind their way up the chute, but once it gets full, it's surprisingly how fast it delivers the caps. But like I said, in the morning, or if you're not, when you're first starting it, get that start that cap sorter up, get the caps up and dropping down the chute. And now we've already done that, so we're going to show you what to do when you're going to run this. We'll run it. Let's see. I guess we'll just run some things through, and without we don't have the bags loaded yet. So let's see. In a normal situation, we would turn the baggers on, bag feeders on. The filling valve, again, we won't, since we're loaded with water and we don't have any bags ready, we'll show you that after we load the bags up. So you'll turn the filling valve on, the pump on, then the press on. Seal you don't have to worry about. The blow and the blow press we're not going to worry about, but the cap screw and the cap press we will. Standby, you don't have to worry about that either. So let's just start. You can push either one. This is a start button here or here. Oh, and I missed this. That's the indexer, the step index. Now we're just basically dry running. I'll turn the fill press on so you can see that. Now we're going to stop it. Another thing to note, it doesn't stop right away when you hit stop. It'll, depending on where you hit it in the cycle, it will continue on sometimes like 1.5 cycles, and then it'll stop. So if you need to stop it right away, hit the E-stop. So okay, there's that. Okay, let's load it up with bags, and then we'll run some product through water. Okay, I'm gonna load some bags in now. Very important thing: the bags load in. There's a two-tier pouch neck here. The bags load in here on the lower one, and you'll once you see them when they get up front, you'll see because the disc grabs them on the upper one. So it's very important that they're loaded that way. And we'll just load them up. We don't have all that many bags here, but you want to keep it pretty full. And actually, another thing, but you don't want to overfill it. Usually, we'll load this up, and then we'll push these bags up until bagger station number 2, and then you want to keep it full but not over full, because you don't want this air cylinder has more power, and you don't want them to slam those bags into the other one. So you want to leave like a little gap. But believe me, it'll be tough keeping up with the machine anyway. So we're loading them up. Some of these may have been reused, and they may be a little beat up. I hope not too bad. They look pretty good. Might as well load them all. That one looks not too good. Yeah, I'll mention the reason I mentioned about some of the bags. If we can go up front here for a minute. The setup of the bag feeder has to be set up, has to be aligned very carefully with this disc. There's a magic marker here that once you get set up, you'll take it away. But the height has to be this is part of the bag feeder. That's just below the disc, just the thickness of this separation between the upper and lower tiers of the bag, and then the angle the angle is pretty much, these are fixed to the actual unit, the main unit. When this comes in, it's a lot easier to see when it's separated, but you'll have to bring this in, lower it, come under the disc, and then adjust it so that you're lined up three-dimensionally, height-wise, and then in the right spot for the bags to come into the disc properly. Again, it's marked, and when you see it broken apart, it'll all make sense. Okay, I think what I'll do, that's as many bags as we have, so I could just take this, I could go to the manual unit, the manual bag feed one, and push them in, but I'm just going to do this by hand. You see these, the way this works, these things, when the pusher is coming back, it can flap so that it can come over the bags. I'll just push this guy, and then I think we're ready to go. All right. Now we're going to go for it all. We're going to turn everything on, the fill valve and the pump. In this mode, the pump, in the main menu, the filling pump operates both fillers. In the manual, I can show you. There's filling pump 1 and 2, and so you can actuate each one individually. And then when we're going to show you how to change the piston, and when we do that, we'll empty it out of water, and then I'll show you all that stuff. But in the main menu, pump there's only one. Now each one has its own photo eye, so so it doesn't matter that they're on the same button here. If there's a bag missing, that pump won't fill where the next one will. So I think we're good to go. Bagger's on. I'm going to turn this one off because we don't need it. And we're going to start. Here we go. Okay, I mentioned before we're going to show you a few more things after the fill test. We're going to show you how to change the piston rings and clean the piston head and cylinder. Now, typically when you're doing any adjustments on the machine, I'd like you to turn the air off. But when you turn the air off, the light goes off. So for this test, for this video rather, we're gonna do this with the air on, and I'll show you how to take the cylinders out and the pistons off. Here we have the pin for the piston rod. We're going to remove that. Okay, and as I said, the air's on. Now we normally do this with the air off. So that's free. And then this is the cylinder clamp. Take that off. All right. We remove the pin, and there's a gasket here at the bottom, and then we can move this up and down. Here's our piston head and our two rings. Okay. I think the next thing, I guess, I'm going to show you how to adjust the quantity. And for that, I'm going to have to turn the air off. Before I do that, right here, while we have the lighting here, these are our quantity adjusters. This is a jam nut. I'll show you this as much as I can with the light on, and then if we wanted more product in the fill, right now the fill range on this This block is a stroke limiter, and the fill range is something between 5 and 12 plus ounces in this range with this limiter. Now if we need more, we have to take this off. So I'll show you what we do. This threads up and down on this rod. These stay put. These stay where they are. But this threads up and down on the rod. With the air on, I can't turn it. But anyway, I'll turn the air off and I'll show you that. And then I'll remove this. This stroke limiter goes between this adjusting fitting and this washer. So let me get rid of the air and I'll show you how that works. Okay, this is our air connection. So I'm right now I'm going to dump the air so I can show you how to adjust the fill quantity. And as I mentioned before early in the video, this is a slide valve, and it's going to make a noise. I'm going to pull this back, and it'll release the air that's in the machine. And another note: the machine has a big storage tank of air, so it takes a while to dump, and you'll hear it. And then this is our air connection. It's a quick connect. You can put on whatever fitting if you have other connections in your shop. But for this test, for this maintenance rather, I'm going to take that off. And there's a gauge here. I don't know if you can see. Like I said, we run it between 6 and 8. For the last test, we were running around 6. It's pretty forgiving in that area, but. Okay, now I'll show you how to adjust the quantity of the product. Okay, we're gonna show you the quantity adjustment. As I mentioned, these guys, they thread up and down along this. They thread up and down on this shaft, and what they do, this threaded rod, they control how much the main cylinders can draw back. So if you come up more, you will get more product, or less you'll get less. Now this is a thrust washer or a bumper. It's snug on that shaft, but it moves. See, you can see I can move it up and down. It's good if you wanted more product, crank this guy down against the jam nut. I'll show you there. Crank that down. Oh, I would lock it up so that right there. And now this is a stroke limiter, as I mentioned. But anyway, I'm going to pull this thrust washer goes between this and this. Now, if we needed more than, I believe it's 12 1/3 ounces, we will take him out. I'll show you that. It's cramped in here. I hope you don't have to do this too much. But we wanted this thing to be, very solid, so that it never falls down on you. Okay. Now this is a 2-piece clamp. Now for storage, I would put it on this post here. That way you'll never lose it. So I put it there. Now it won't ever get lost. Now this, like I said, this controls how far the piston can draw up, which will pull more product. So this slides, and then I'll show you this. This guy can go. He can take a much longer stroke than this one. Now conversely, if you want less, you thread this up. It's easier if you push this. It's tough. we made that snug so it don't bounce around. But anyway, so if you wanted less product, if you're putting too much in, you crank that up. And then when you're where you want to be, you put the jam nut up. And then that'll be your setting. Now you can measure, once you establish what your fill levels are, you can measure from here to here on each one, and that'll, then you can go right to that number. And that's it. Okay, now we're looking at, this is your Kaplan scrambler. It's controlled by the user interface on the other side on the main control panel, but it does have its own on-off. We leave it on, and we've been running it at maximum vibration, which is this control here, and there's two settings here. We have it on the lower one is vibrates more. This is less. So we have it the max here, and as I said, always on. And sometimes if you're starving for caps, make sure once in a while, especially if somebody throws some old distorted caps in there, they can get hung up. But you'll see them; they vibrate around. They travel through, and then they eventually end up down in that chute. And you just fill the caps in the center here. Around and around they go. Another thing I wanted to mention, I hope I'm not forgetting anything, wanted to show you the setting on the bag feeder. It's a pretty important setting. It's on the secondary, what they call the into the bag 2, and that's the amount of push. So see these levers, they go, when they come backwards they can just roll over the bags. But anyway, this is the one that does the final push onto the disc, pushes the bags on. So we want to set the pressure on this filter regulator unit here. So the way we do it, the best way, we're going to go into manual mode, and then we're going to hit into the bag. Now it may not come on. Oh, it does. Like I said, this thing is a little quirky. It has to know that the disc is in the right spot. And I believe I mentioned it. If it doesn't work in that mode, you have to index it one time, and then it should work. Anyway, now what we did is we turned on the valve to push the bags in. Now we have a constant pressure on this. Otherwise, what it does is this goes back and forth, and this drops to 0, and it's hard to set the pressure. So now we can see we're running. That's running around 15. That may be a little bit high, but it was working pretty well. But if we needed less push on the bag, we can turn it down, which is this way. Let it settle out too, and if we want more, crank it in. Thereabouts. So I'm gonna put it back to where it was, somewhere around there, and that's that. We're looking now, at least I think we are. We're looking at the cap tightener, and it's been doing very well the way it's set. It twists the capsule very nicely. But if you need more or less torque, you can adjust the spring tension here by moving these nuts, by putting more pressure on the spring or less pressure on the spring. But it's been doing very well as it is. And you have some adjustment in the height up here, up and down. Again, I don't think you'll need to even touch it. So that's that. Okay, I think we covered the basics of it, but on a final note, I mentioned before, if you're doing any work on the machine, turn the air off. Now, if you do have to make an adjustment while the air's on, be extremely careful, especially that disc. It's pretty obvious that thing, if it caught your hands, it would do some damage. So keep your fingers in particular out of that area. And again, turn the air and the power off if you're servicing the machine.